Now I am going to introduce our final keynote speaker. Welcome, Berta Krohnert. I wasn't even going to try and say all three names. She is the head of NIH products at Inspiralia. She supported more than 100 US and European companies to access public funding, especially those that focus on life science, biotech, and healthcare. Her mission is to increase the innovation capacity and competitiveness of health-related subject matter experts to match the company requirements with specific NIH topics. As the head of department there, she leads the validation and consultancy of projects for the NIH and other funding agencies. She has over 15 years of experience in pharmaceutical and petrochemical and strong knowledge and experience in IP. And so welcome.
Thank you so much. And thank you for the introduction. Thank you everyone for staying and listen my little story. I will talk today about learning by living, that I think is something that we all know a little bit. And I want to talk a little bit about myself and for you to know about me. So I was born and raised in Spain. I was the first generation of African parents that studied in Europe. My father was a doctor. He's already retired. And yeah, as a first generation, you know, there are a lot of good and bad things of learning or living in a different country. One of the things that I learned with it was my parents always pushing me to be the best I could be, but it's good. But at the same time, it's a lot of pressure because we were the only Black kids in almost the whole town or city. So we were kind of well known for the good or for the bad things, right? In my case, I was born and raised in Spain. Then I studied in Spain and Germany. I'm a chemist. I love I love reading, writing, and I end up studying something that is kind of scientific. But at the end of the story, you will see that at the end, everything worked out to be a person that can write about science, right? I also live in UK to improve my English, and I have some work experience in Madrid, in Catalonia, teaching children, working in the patent office, working in pharmaceutical laboratory. And then I moved to Equatorial Guinea, my parents' original country, to work in the oil and gas industry. And also I created a small company with a partner, so I start my entrepreneur journey. Then I went back to Portugal and I started thinking about what can I do with all those experiences that saved me, but at the same time, it could look a little bit mixed in my curriculum because after doing so many different stuff, it could be complicated. So I started thinking about working as consultant freelancer. And this brings me about why every person is different. And in my case, my personal experience saved me. This is me and my brothers. Me is the one in the middle. And this is my brother who unfortunately passed away related to cancer. It was glioblastoma when he was 36, right? So for me, that was a very grieving process and difficult because as many of you probably had, when you finish the career, you are working and you are making money, but there's one moment when you ask yourself, what I want to do in my life, not only for me, but for the others. So in my case, the grieving was a very confusing period. Of course, I keep on working, but it also saved part of the story of saved me the way I am today, right? And in my case, even in that period, I learned things. And that's something that I wanna say today. No matter if you are grieving or if you are having a bad time in your work, everything that you are experiencing will guide you through that. And in my case, after that period, after the grieving, after all the professional challenges that I was having, I think I decided to work towards the technologies that could help people in the future. Anything that could improve patients' health, prolong life, or reduce pain sometimes, right? Any technology that will be related to that, it would be something that I would like to work for. And anything that will have any positive impact in health outcomes. And that's how I end up working in Inspiralia. Inspiralia is a company that works in public funding. We help companies getting public funding to do their R&D plans. The company was created in 2005 in Europe, and we are in the US since 2018. So in this case, all the professional experience that I had in the past and I'm having now in Inspiralia, meeting a lot of startups and help them to make money or to get money to growth and to develop their R&D, save me till who I am today. And sometimes also, if you are wondering today, you don't know what are you doing with your life, personal or professional life, don't get too disappointed. Things will change sooner or later. And sometimes this is your right path, even if you are doubting, because this path can guide you to different things. And every experience is going to give you resilience, knowledge, determination, or just what you don't like or what you don't want. And I say that because this is very important. Sometimes we are not sure about what we don't want, and we start hitting ourselves with the same goal 1 and 2 times. So when we are experiencing something, it's important to write down and think about what I don't want about this job. I don't want this about this experience. I don't want this about my boss. Because then you are learning, and you are learning by living, and not by getting disappointed, but to learning while knowing what you are not gonna do again, or where are you not gonna go again, and where you are gonna try to avoid to see yourself in the same situation. So every personal and professional experience saved you and helped you to become who you are. So don't suffer too much. Right? So one of the things that I always say is like, I'm able to work as consultant today and help those startups thanks to all the works that I have done in the past, but also it helped me to understand more about innovation. And as you all know, innovation is helping to build something in a different way. Sometimes this innovation drive me to the place where we help a business to grow, and we help them to develop their scientific projects. And I want to think that some of those developments are going to help somebody in the future, in a drug sector, in medical device, in any place in the world. And I'm going to say something that my father sometimes likes to say. It's like my daughter works in things that are not yet there. She works for the future, And I like this idea when he was in Africa, and people say, yeah, but your daughter is a chemist. We don't understand what she does. And say, yeah, many people don't understand because she's working for things that are not there yet. Things for the future, things for other generations, things to improve other people's lives. And that's what I think that I like about working in Inspiralia, to think about there's some people dying today that maybe in 20 years won't die the same way, or will live longer, or will have less pain while passing away. And that's what for me is innovation. You can find innovation in different sectors, but also in the health or life science. You can see that there are many companies out there trying to make things work better. And that's why I feel it's important that they get funding. Sometimes it's private funding, sometimes it's public funding. I know the steps are not easy, but what I try to do as P&L owner is to check for the best projects to work with, to check the best companies that I think they have better outcomes, or they can have better outcomes. And I feel those decisions impact in future technologies. And that's what I like to think. Sometimes it's true, sometimes doesn't happen the way I expected, but I think that's what drives me to work every day and fight for that. And in this point, I always think that I work in those innovations, that starting point for future drugs, for medical devices, or diagnostic methods that today are not there yet. Right? And till now, I work in different projects, and some of them, just to name, were related to pancreatic cancer, ovarian cancer, Alzheimer, new drugs formulation for dry eyes that, it could drive to blindness, arthritis rheumatoid, AR. Many people suffer from this kind of arthritis in the knees or in other joints. epilepsy related to drugs, the different ones, but there are some epilepsies that are specifically for kids that are difficult to understand how they work, how they can be stopped. And those kind of projects are projects that needs a lot of work, passionate people, passionate team, and also money to move forward, right? One of the projects that I have been working recently is related to my inclusion of minorities in clinical trials, because as you know, most of the clinical trials that are happening nowadays a little bit better than some years ago. And there's no inclusion. Most of the patients, of subjects, are white men from certain age. And this is very difficult because it's impossible to get a good map of how a drug is working if you only have a group representing one type of person or profile representing the whole world, right? So I think those kind of projects that they try to include minorities on those clinical trials and understand why the minorities are not going into those clinical trials is important to understand the reasons behind those decisions that sometimes not only corporate decisions, but is something that goes beyond. I have projects related to diabetes, preeclampsia, that is, as you know, high pressure in pregnant women that could have very negative results in the pregnancy for the mother, for the kids. And I have also worked in medical devices related to different things, related to alleviate nicotine dependence, improve breastfeeding, that is also very important, not only for the mother, but for the future child. Um, Chronic obstructive lung disease, that is something that unfortunately we live it a lot during the pandemic. Many people pass away due to this impossibility to understand when your lungs are just suffering a little bit or they are having a big problem, and therefore you should have something to overcome, right? And also working in projects related to newborns, infant, how to promote growth for infants that are in the ICU. As you know, there are many sounds in those spaces, and for them it's difficult to gain weight while they are there when all this is happening. So yeah, if anyone wants some details, of course, I can talk more about it. And one of the things that I want to say that I think it was helpful for me, my father told me, and some of my friends, is like, if you are tired, sometimes we are, you can be tired of your career, just rest, but never give up. This is the only way to build resilience. Sometimes we think, I'm going to give up and I'm going to do something else and I'm going to change. Of course, you can change, but don't forget that all the work that you have put on yourself till here is part of who you are. So just rest, take time, meditate, think about it, do your notes, take your notes, whatever you want, but don't give up. Because if you give up, there's no lesson learned. And the lesson learned should be maybe your limits, maybe to understand this is how much I can handle. And sometimes that's the lesson that we can learn. And yeah, I don't want to be too long. This is my contact, my email, and my cell. My name is Berta, and I will be very glad to talk to you. If you want to read in LinkedIn, I have my profile. And thank you for listening. I hope something was interesting part of my talk.